Hey, my name is Farzad, and welcome to my today's podcast and video. Uh, I want to talk about uh, religion and its impacts on public health and medicine in the United States. Uh, we're going to talk about early days from 18th century all the way to the modern medicine and public health. But I want to start this video with a personal story. When I was little, my mom would always tell me not to sleep under a tree. And she would say, don't sleep under a tree because devil will hit you and kill you. And I was a child. I did not understand. I did not understand the reason behind it, the logic. But at the same time, I was curious and I was also scared. So I avoided sleeping under the trees during the night. Uh, that was what my mom told me. But as I grew up, this curiosity caused me to ask other people what's the reason behind it. Well, my mom's reasoning was more something religious and traditional, but in high school I found out that it basically has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with tradition. It's because trees consume oxygen during the night and release carbon dioxide. That's why a lot of people either die or suffocate because they don't have enough oxygen when they sleep under a tree during the night. And many more examples. You can see it even in today's modern United States. There are a lot of things that we say and we believe, either based on religion or tradition, that makes, in most cases, no sense. So, by the way, that was the history. That was the story. Sorry. That was something personal that came from me. But for this specific video, I want to talk about the structure of the video, how I'm going to discuss the issues. During the last 2 weeks, and even during the Thanksgiving, I spent some time reading a lot of papers, 5 to 6 papers, each 25 to 30 pages, and I took a lot of notes. These are some very prestigious papers from JSTOR and Google Scholar, in order to help me to understand and to share the information with you, and information that's prestigious, that's worth listening to. As I mentioned, I read some papers about early medicine and religion interactions in colonial America. And one of the articles that caught my attention was from Richard H. Shariak. The article explains how when Europeans moved to colonial America, some of them had diseases with them. They brought diseases with them in the United States. And these diseases impacted the already existed communities of Native Americans. And also it impacted African Americans. That's the negative part. But the good thing is that these Europeans, they had some knowledge about treatments, like folk medicine, like treatments that they would do in church. And what they ended up doing is teaching and transferring these knowledge to other people too, to Native Americans, to African Americans. A good example is Dr. Henry Melchior Molenberg. He's German, and he studies in Germany, came to the United States to organize Lutheran Church. And also when he came to the United States, I don't exactly know whether he moved to the United States or he just visited the United States. He got time and found time to practice medicine. And it was very easy to practice medicine. Back in the days, you didn't need a licensure. You didn't need any certification. And Most of these people were treated by either their family relatives, by their, I don't know, people like neighbors. You didn't have the concept of hospitals that we have today. Uh, so it was very easy for him to practice medicine. He used remedies that he experimented in Hall University in Germany. Uh, what he did, he used those experiments and also combined religion with these practices. These are all mentioned in the article that I was reading, 18th Century Medicine in America. Uh, but as I mentioned, it was very easy for people to practice medicine. Uh, and you basically did not need any type of licensure, anything. Most people were get treated by their family members. It was very common back in the days. Also, another study that I was going over was an article. The title of the article is History of Medicine, Health, Medicine, and Disease in 18th Century. It was written by Jonathan Andrews. And one of the main concepts of this study is how different cultures and societies in the early colonial America traded treatments. What I mean by that is, let's say I'm European and I know a specific way of treatment of a disease. I would teach Indian Americans or Native Americans about that. Or Europeans used methods that they found useful, that it was from Native Americans, it was from African Americans. Some of these methods were useful. They were useful to treat diseases. So there was, at this point in the history of early 18th century, there was an exchange of treatments between different communities and different societies, from Europeans to Native Americans to African Americans. 18th century is a very interesting century. It's interesting in every aspect, but when it comes to medicine, it's ironic, it's interesting. And I say so because a lot of people's beliefs and ideas when it comes to medicine in 18th century, they're impacted and influenced by religion. There is this sort of idea of whether I'm sick or I'm fine or I'm healthy, it's from God. If I'm sick, it means God wants me to be sick. They don't have this idea of or mindset that, okay, if I'm sick, yeah, it is from God, but also God wants me to go out and study and research and educate myself about that sickness and about finding the ways to treat that sickness. A good study that I found about related to this idea and this concept was patient expectation. This is the title of the study, Patient Expectations: How Economics, Religion, and Malpractice Shaped Therapeutics in Early America. It was written by Catherine L. Thompson. It's a book, indeed, but it has many chapters. Chapter 4 was specifically talking about these ideas. The beginning of the chapter is a bunch of memoirs from people living in 18th century in New England, like Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, and states like that. The first one, I'm gonna read the quote directly. It's from Hannah Heathen, North Haven, Connecticut, December 18, 1785. My husband told me that there was a hard lump growing on his cheek. Went to a doctor, but means seems to do no good. He goes on in his old way of sinning, not the least reformation. Lord, I believe if thou wilt, thou canst make him clean. The quote goes on. So she believes that what caused her husband's sickness is his habits of sinning. Well, I'm pretty religious. I think, yeah, that could be a factor, but you can't put everything on religion. maybe that lump or whatever sickness that he was going through, maybe it was causing by another factor, another issue. Uh, but from the quote, you get this idea of how people would think back in the days that everything is about religion and everything's about God. And the article goes on. It's a very long article. Some people they became humble. For example, Richardson from Sudbury, Massachusetts, 1765. He believes for many cure was God's gift. If you're treated, if you're cured, if you're healed, that's a gift from God. That's a way to be humble. That's a way to be thankful. Yes, but what was the reason you got cured? How did you get cured? These ideas and beliefs are more about early until mid 18th century, but when we come to late 18th century and early 19th century, people actually start distancing and separating religion from science. And other people, the people who are more religious, would call these people that these are seculars. They don't believe in God, or things like that. And in the mid 19th century, early 19th century, this sort of idea of giving science a chance, believing in science, grew more and more. People started doing experiments. People believed in science, and they were like, okay, yeah, religion is an important thing, but we should also do research. We should also study about the treatments. We should also explore new ways of treating people who are ill, people who need help. The same study that I mentioned, it's a long study, then continues to compare for ideology of, I believe, Christianity. It's Unitarians, Congregationalists, Transcendentalists, and Revivalists or Evangelicals. And Unitarians in here, they are the pioneers. They are the people who say that we need more science, we need more research, we need more experiment. We have to take a step back from religion, and we have to focus more on science and relate it more to medicine and public health. But then Congregationalists, these people are the opposite. Their idea and their beliefs are totally different from Unitarians. They're like, no. We are conservatives. We're going to stick to the ideas that we have. We believe that either sickness, either disease, or treatment, it's from God. We don't want to mess with that. We don't want to get involved with that. So these are people that they think that they should not engage and they should not interrupt basically what God is doing. But I don't necessarily think that this was something that God was doing. Yeah, I believe in God, but God wouldn't tell you how to cure cancer. Yes, he built the cancer, but he also built humans, and humans are smart, intelligent, they have brain. He technically gave you the options to go find ways to those solutions, to those issues, go find solutions to those problems. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna sit here and God is gonna cure or treat my cancer, or gonna cure or treat my AIDS, or gonna cure or treat my, I don't know, whatever disease it is. It's not gonna work like that. Now, I mentioned the two other branches earlier, and I want to talk about transcendentalists. These are the people who are closer. Their ideology is closer to Congregationalists. They're also a little bit conservative. They basically believe that illness is true man's actions. If I'm sick, maybe I did something wrong. That's basically their core idea, their main idea. If you're getting sick, if you're not getting fine, if you're not getting cured, then maybe you're doing something bad. Maybe you're committing a sin, basically. If you're, for example, if I refer back to example of cancer, if you're getting cancer in transcendentalist ideology, maybe you committed a very bad sin. Maybe God is punishing you, basically. This is their idea. This is, and I think this is closer to Congregationalist ideology. And then you have revivalists and evangelicals, which basically say that we have free will. Also, to mention, these are the group evangelicals and revivalists. This is the group that also is anti-slavery. They don't approve or confirm slavery. But not to get separated from the topic, they say man has free will. They believe in God, but as I said, they also believe in humans' intelligence, in humans' free choice. If you're gaining weight and you're getting a lot of diseases alongside with that, then you should control your diet. If you're getting sick, if your body is weak, then you should work out a little bit. This is the ideology of evangelicals and revivalists. You have the free choice. You have the option. Either it's good or bad. It's all up to you. You choose the option. But you get the consequences. And it can be applied also to when it comes to medicine. We are humans. We are smart. We are intelligent. There's no doubt about it. If we are getting sick, we have to learn from that. We have to find new ways of treating it. We have to kind of learn from that problem, from that issue. This was the four ideology in the 18th and 19th century among people who mostly believed in Christianity, and they had these four different ideologies. We talked about religion impact in 18th century and early 19th century, but I want to switch gears at this point. I want to talk about 19th century medicine, 19th and 20th century medicine, and I found this paper on JSTOR. The article title is "The Religious Foundation of Healthcare: How Religious Beliefs and Ideas Shape the Core Foundations of Healthcare in the United States." And one of the concepts it's talking about is that God has created us and we are vulnerable. But while we are vulnerable, we have the ability, we have the freedom to choose between different options that we have, to choose between good and bad. I think it applies more to lifestyle and public health, and it's more individualistic approach. For example, me, every choice that I make in my diet and my lifestyle in my daily life, it definitely is going to impact my healthcare, my life overall. And also, at some point, it talks about human dignity in the West. He uses this concept of imago Dei. I think it's either Latin or I don't know. The idea that says each of us is created in the image or likeness of God. Basically, that human being, every human being is a representative of God, and He specifically talks about how caregivers and physicians, they're not only human being, but they're the representative and likeness of God. They're there to cure, to treat, and to make other people's lives better. So this is, you see how it directly influences the mindset of a lot of people, even a lot of people when it comes to healthcare. It can impact or influence caregivers' ideology or physicians' ideology. It gives them this momentum, this idea that you are there because God wanted you to be there to help people, to be there for them in the worst days of their life. It serves in sort of motivation, I would say. And then I want to refer to few other concepts that was mentioned in the paper. This idea that love and care is mentioned in almost every religion. It doesn't matter if it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, and other major religions. Everyone is sort of motivated and impacted by this idea to care about others, to take care of them, to help them, to treat them fairly, to find treatments even. This was a concept in the article that I found it interesting. Also, it mentioned Jesus' ministry to the sick, ministry of healing, and basically talks about how when you take care of people, when you provide care for people, you're a good Samaritan. This is a concept in the Christianity. So what this article gives us the idea of taking care of people and treating people in different forms. Either you can be a physician or a nurse or a dentist. It is encouraged in almost every religion. It's seen as something good, as something religious, in almost every major religion. Also, it talks about how Buddha was described as caring for sick monk. He would take care of the monks who were sick or who were not able to take care of themselves. So you get this idea of almost every religion encouraging you to take care of people. The paper then continues and talks about concept of justice when it comes to healthcare. How should we treat people fairly? We have a lot of rich people, billionaires in our country and around the world, that they can contribute to healthcare, to public health. We have a lot of people who are homeless. We have a lot of people that can't afford to put food on the table. They can't afford getting treatments. They can't afford getting treatment for their chronic health issues. So it's interesting that even though religion and taking care of people is such a big issue and such a big concept in healthcare, we still don't have justice. We don't treat everyone fairly. Is it fair to spend, let's say, $100,000 on a person who have heart disease and is in one way or the other going to pass out or die basically, or to spend that money, that $100,000, to treat 10 different people whom that treatment can actually have an impact on their life. So this is the concept of justice in healthcare. And then at the end, the paper talks about responding to God's call. This idea of physicians and healthcare personnel is technically responding to God's message and God's call. They are there for people to help because God wanted them to be there, because God has given them this ability, this responsibility to treat people. So again, you see a great influence of religion and healthcare. But at the end, I found it very interesting that the writer wraps up the article with concept of finitude, this concept of limited control. We are human beings. We are not God. We don't have control over everything. So at the end, yes, religion motivates and influences us to treat people, but our power, our control is limited. We cannot cure everybody. So if somebody dies from a disease, there are things to learn from that. But our power is limited. It's finitude. We do not have control over everything. Now, before I transition to 20th century and modern day medicine and religion in the United States, I want to talk about some stuff that is not appealing. People don't usually talk about it. Yes, religion influenced medicine in the United States in very positive ways. And yes, people's ideas were influenced by religion. But as a country that majority of its citizens and residents are religious in one way or the other. It can be Christianity, it can be Judaism or Muslim or Islam. We don't see equity, we don't see equality, specifically in the 20th century when it comes to medicine. For example, I was watching this video on CDC website, Center for Disease and Cancer, and it was about the Tuskegee experiment. Well, if you don't know about the Tuskegee experiment, it was a series of experiments from 1932 to 1972, 40 years long, on African American population of this country. People who had syphilis. And, well, there are two main problems with this experiment. That fortunately people today acknowledge that. At least they acknowledge it. First of all, the participants of this study, they did not consent to participate in this study. You can't find their consent in any document. That's the first problem. The second problem was that the experiment was purely made in a way to not prevent these participants' death. So these people, Black or African Americans, they had syphilis, and the experiment was made in a way to see their life and how they die. It's not ethical. It doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. We do see a lot of positive influence on medicine in the United States, but again, you see incidents such as Tuskegee experiment, which is sad and depressing, and shows that sometimes we as human beings, especially in United States, do not treat everybody in the same level. We do not give them the treatment. We do not cure them at the same level. The treatment that you would receive specifically back in the days in 18th, 19th, and 20th century. The treatment that you would receive would depend on your skin color and your background and your identity. As I'm switching gears to 20th century and modern day, I found another article, another paper, and I'm using a lot of papers and articles because what I'm saying, it should be based on evidence. So I found this paper. The title is Religion and Public Health. It was written by Peter H. Van Ness. And the article generally is divided into three ideas, into three branches. The first one is about religious practices and personal health. What the article basically says about this part is that some practices that is rooted in religion, they have positive impact, but some can have no impact or negative impact. For example, a positive impact, Hindus and Jains have less cardiovascular. You know why? Because of their dietary. They do not consume a lot of meat. They don't have a lot of cardiovascular diseases. But then you have this idea of not eating milk with meat at the same time in Judaism, which is not backed by science. It has no evidence in the science. So, religion has an impact in medicine and our daily life and personal health, but not every time it can be positive, and not every time it is negative. And then in the same part, in the same concept, it also talks about the spiritual concept and how meditation and prayer can, in most cases, have positive impact on our psychological behaviors and to control stress, to lower down stress. It's backed by research. The second concept that it's talking about is the impact of social ministries on community health. It makes sense because a lot of people, they go to church, they go to mosque, they go to synagogue, and what this helps with, it gives the preachers a platform to promote health, to promote medicine, to promote public health. For example, a lot of shelters and charities are run by churches and religious institutes. You can see a lot of funding, a lot of fundraising that's run by churches, mosques, synagogues. And a great example of this is a quote, or I would say a verse from Jesus Christ that says, "Love each other as I have loved you." Now, you may interpret this in many ways that you want, but this sort of gives me the idea of nursing and taking care of each other, and having this idea and mentality that we should take care of each other. We should treat each other and treat fairly. So the point of this video was to talk about religion and its impacts and influence on public health and medicine. And I hope that I've accomplished and I've achieved at least a little bit of that by just sharing all these information. I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. I might have made some mistakes. But my goal was to, first of all, educate myself read a bunch of papers, articles, studies, and also transfer these information with other people. So thank you so much for paying attention, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.